Go ahead, Ella.
Thank you. Okay. I don't see. Okay, I'd like to welcome our special speaker, Mrs. Rivky Isaacson. Grew up in Borough Park. She earned a BS in Business Management and Economics from Empire State College and an MBA from LaSalle University. Rivky currently resides in Philadelphia, where her husband is the rabbi of Congregation Beth Solomon. In addition to her role as the Rebbitzin of Congregation Beth Solomon, Mrs. Isaacson is an entrepreneur and manager of House of Kosher. She leads momentum trips to Israel and lectures periodically to the women in her community. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. See if I can fix this a little. It's an honor to be here. I was definitely inspired myself when I heard from my friend Michelle Galen, who's on this group, about this Nishmat group. Like, I had no idea this even existed. There was a time we actually, in our family, did Nishmat together as a group for us, close for someone in the family. And then, you know, I say it on Shabbos, but I haven't been saying it on a regular basis. My mother says it every day. And it inspired me once I heard that this was going on to start saying it again in the mornings. I don't know if I could commit to a specific time with the group, which is, I'm glad I was able to do it today. And it was really, really beautiful and inspiring. So thank you for that, for getting me started on this. And hopefully we'll see good things. And we're told when I quickly looked up Nishmas and you know, see what's going on around the world with Nishmas, there's so many different groups and people very involved in saying it. And it seems that Rebbitzin Kanievsky was very, very adamant about when people would come to her for bakashos and for Yeshuas, that she said, just say Nishmas for 40 days and you will see a full Yeshua. So there must be something very, very special about Nishmas. And we know that Nishmas is officially said on Shabbos. And the Chachamim say that we were given Nishmas as this extra tefillah because we have a Neshama Yisera. We have an extra Neshama. This was a special tefillah that Hashem gave us. I mean, my Bubby felt that, you know, the Neshama Yisera was given to us so we could eat a little bit extra on Shabbos. But in actuality, no. So we, Baruch Hashem, have this beautiful, beautiful tefillah. In the Orach Chaim, it is explained that Nishmas is a gift from Hashem. And it's a gift specifically to enable us to appreciate his greatness, his kindness. When we say Nishmas, we say all the beautiful creations and the wonders of creation around the world. And it reminds us, and Hashem tells us, that the entire world, Bishvili Nivra Ha'olam, the world was created for us. And it gives us that special, again, appreciation, feeling of love from Hashem, especially on Shabbos. But when we say it every single day, we just feel that appreciation even more when we say Nishmas. And it reminds us again that everything we have here in this world, everything is here is because of us. And Hashem loves us so much. And that's where we get to that point of gratitude, of appreciation, and living a life of gratitude. You know, we're talking today about the tsaros that we've experienced recently in Eretz Yisrael. I mean, it's like every day, it's honestly difficult for me to see the pictures and to hear it. And I'm sure it's difficult for all of us, you know, and I don't want to feel that anger and that, and just that kind of like even almost depression and sadness. We want to feel uplifted. We want to know that Hashem, no matter what, this is out of love. And somehow we're going to talk a little bit about that today, is how to get to that point a little bit and to realize that. And especially when they're saying how the mother of the two boys that were killed last week, you know, I think Rebbitzin Mizrahi wrote in her column how she doesn't have anger. She just, you know, has such an emunah and a bitachon and a positivity, even though she's in so much pain that we should never know and we cannot possibly imagine. When we daven, Rav Matisyahu Solomon quotes the Rambam, and he says a general rule is that a person has two parts when he davens. He should always cry out to Hashem. I'm nervous, I'm worried, I'm in pain. I don't know what's going to be. So things about the future. And at the same time, he thanks Hashem for all of the blessings that he has in his life and all that has worked out in the past. And both parts are so important. But he quotes the Rambam as saying that first we should show our appreciation to Hashem. First, we say thank you for all of our blessings, and then we cry out to Hashem. And what it shows it, and then actually says the opposite. He says, first cry out for our needs, and then we say thank you to Hashem for everything. And what it's showing Hashem is that we understand that when we're crying to you, that's also from you. It's not just the blessings, but the cries and the pain and the worry and the challenging people in our lives and the challenging issues that are going on, that's also from you. And we show Hashem that we understand that both is from you. He only wants to shower us with good. And we say in Tehillim, Parak Ches, is all about this. That whole parak is about understanding that we can handle any tzara that happens to us when we know that Hashem has sent it to us. The Rambam continues that after one has made all his requests to Hashem, he should always thank Hashem for all the favors, and that's how we become a thankful person. In Praying with Fire 2, the second book, there's a beautiful story. A woman is at the kotel, and she's davening for her husband who's not well. And as she's davening and davening, she hears another woman nearby her, and she can hear what she's saying. And she's saying, please, Hashem, please help my son decide which job he should take. Please, Hashem, please let my daughter figure out what to do with this child. And it's a few mundane things like that. And she's just going through her like mundane challenges and things that she's asking Hashem for. And she finishes, and she kisses the kotel, the wall, and she turns around to leave. And then she turns back for a second, and the woman overhears her say, oh, and God, have a nice day. It's understanding that, yes, this is the God who, yes, we have worries and we have requests, but at the same time, it's a God who loves us, and to have that connection. And when we know that Hashem loves us, we can handle anything and everything that comes our way. I listen to a daily bitachon share. I have very good friends who are always sending things that, keep us strong spiritually in our learning. And my friend added me onto this daily bitachon. It's kind of a WhatsApp group. I think they have an online group. It's amazing. It's a businessman who gives like very strong shar bitachon every single day, like fire and brimstone. And yesterday, he said something that really resonated with me. He said something every day that resonates with me. But yesterday he was saying how, like when we're trying to get a baby to go to sleep and we rock the baby, and, they make all these cribs and beds with like vibrators, and we hold the baby and we rock so the baby can fall asleep. Can you do that to an adult? Right? If you rock an adult, normally it's to wake them up. When my son has to go to daven or to learn, right? I kind of give a little shake to wake him up, not to put him to sleep. And that's how Hashem is with us. He's not going to treat us like babies, but he's going to have to give us sometimes a little shake up, so that we can see where we have to go, what we have to do to get things going. And that's exactly what happened to me a year and a half ago. And I was going through my life. It was post-COVID. We've been doing outreach in Philadelphia pretty much since I arrived, 20-something years. And it was after COVID. It was very difficult after COVID to get the outreach going again. People weren't coming out to classes. People weren't going to shul, especially in the non-religious world. And I was like, I guess I'm kind of like, I don't know, done. Like there were no momentum trips going on. There was like, I was like, I guess, I did it, I did it. Now I'll enjoy my children, my grandchildren. It was kind of like in that kind of place. I mean, we work and everything, but like, maybe that's done. It was a year and a half ago. It was a Friday night. That whole Friday, actually, I didn't feel 100%. But I had just finished, I direct the high school play. So we had just finished doing a performance. And that was challenging enough in those times of COVID, but we were able to do something which was amazing. And it was Friday night, and we had our Shabbos meal, and we go to bed. And I would say about 1:00 in the morning, I wake up with an excruciating pain in my right shoulder. And I do go to the gym in the morning. I go to a crazy CrossFit gym that I love. And I said I must have probably pulled something or done something. And it was excruciating. And I'm pretty good with pain, I have to say. So I tell my husband, who's an EMT, he started Hatzalah here in Philadelphia. And he's like, really, rule of thumb, if something wakes you up, we take you into the hospital. I'm like, I'm not going to the hospital right now. I'm not going to the ER. I probably pulled something. They're going to laugh at me. Let me take some Tylenol. I took some Tylenol. It's just getting worse. The pain is just getting worse. Like it's really, they say like 1 to 10, it was beyond a 10. He goes, okay, you're going in. You're going in. I don't care. So we get dressed. We yell to the kids, we're going into the hospital. It's probably nothing. I probably pulled something. I'll be right back. We get to the hospital. It was actually interesting. The doctor on call remembered me from a previous call. He's like, how's your finger? And the last time I'm like, wow, okay. And then he's like, okay, we'll do some tests. We'll see what it is. he comes back about an hour later. I would say pretty nervous looking. He's like, you actually have a blood clot in your lung. You have a pulmonary embolism. Now, I was never good at bio. He would hear the word blood. I was under my desk in high school, not my thing. My husband looks like he's going to faint. So I said, is that like a serious thing? My husband's like, it's very serious. The doctor's like, we have to do an immediate heparin drip, which is like a blood thinner through the IV. And he's quickly calling the doctor the hematologist that would normally be on call at the hospital. And at that point, I'm like, here I thought I pulled something, and they're like, this is like life-threatening. So they quickly, the doctor was giving instructions. He wasn't there at the hospital, but he's giving instructions. And they took me off the drip. He wants to do something else. And they said, okay, we're going to have to admit you. We have to watch you. We have to get this blood clot. We have to get it out of your lungs. It's blocking the blood flow to your heart. They did a million tests. I never had so much blood taken from my body as they did that night, taking everything. They were checking my leg to see if I had blood clots there. Nothing. Everything was clear. Cannot figure out where this came from. A lot of theories out there because I had taken the COVID vaccines. So, lots of theories. The doctors did not say it was from that, but that's irrelevant at this point. We knew where it was from. Only the one above could give that to me. So they admit me, and it's Shabbos. My husband lanes at our shul. He actually ran back to our house so that he didn't have anyone else to cover the laning. At that point, I was stable. I mean, they were, treating me. There was nothing more he could do at that point. I said, please bring back a sitter. I had nothing with me, and we don't have a bigger holding room in this hospital. We do have it in another one. So he ran back. And at that point, and they told me, you're going to be here for what's Memorial Day weekend. You're going to be here for a while because there's not going to be a doctor coming in to it's a weekend. You have to really be seen by the doctors, and it could be a while. I said, okay. But it's Shabbos morning, and this doctor walks into my room, and he introduces himself, and he's like, I know you. And he's the top hematologist there. And I was like, oh, they said a doctor's not going to, and he walked in and said, Shabbat Shalom. So that was right away a nice feeling. Okay. And I mean, he's not wearing a yarmulke, so I don't know. And, and his name is Dr. Rashtut. I couldn't tell what background it was. I ended up being he's Israeli. And he said, I know you. And he said, I saw your name, that you were the one that was brought in. And I normally don't come in on Shabbos, but I came in because you own a supermarket. We own a kosher supermarket here in Philadelphia. And during COVID, a local Chabad Rebbitzin was giving birth. And she got COVID, and nobody was allowed to be with her. And he's very close to them. And he was the doctor trying to get them food and everything. And he goes, it was like an Erev Shabbos. I ran to your store. Your husband had everything prepared. Your husband came and delivered everything to the hospital. I waited outside for him, everything that we needed. And I will never forget the favor that he did. And when I saw your name, I said, I have to come in. And he sat with me, and he explained everything to me, and he gave me his he said, I'll give you the cell phone after Shabbos. And he gave me his cell phone to always be able to call him. Normally, I would not have been seen. I could have been there for days not knowing, but he gave me the right treatment, and they were able to start treating the blood clot. And he said to me, I want you to understand something. A blood clot is a silent killer. You would have not woken up in the morning. But because your blood clot somehow caused an infarction next to it, like a bruise on the lung, that's what caused you the pain in the shoulder. The pain woke you up to get you checked out, and that we were able to treat it right away and start treating that blood clot. He goes, do you understand what a miracle just happened? This doesn't normally happen. And I just lay there and cried. And Baruch Hashem, I was sent home that night. 3 months of blood thinners. Baruch Hashem, it's all gone. And we don't know where, what, or why. It's not important. But it came and it went. And for a while, I was thanking Hashem, thank you for healing me. Thank you for healing me. A little while later, it was Yontif time. It was, I don't know if it was Rosh Hashanah, and it was still quiet in our shul. But I decided to go. Women weren't really coming, but I decided to go to shul. And I have 3 married children who live in Philadelphia. So my son-in-laws were there. So it's like the only woman in shul. And my son-in-law comes around and he's like, hey, what are you doing here? Like just the way the words came out. And it just hit me. What am I doing here? Why am I here? I should not be here. I should have been long gone. And I said, Hashem did this Something had to wake within me. And I had to find the power to go on. And I'm not going to get personal to what I've done in my personal life, but that was my tap on the shoulder. That was my shake. And we all get them in life. It's just if we're in tune and if we listen to it and pay attention to it, Hashem is shaking us because he wants us to reach our potential here. The saddest things after 120, if we come up to Hashem and we didn't. That's the saddest thing for Hashem and for ourselves. You know, when my kids would do something wrong, the worst thing, my punishing them, my screaming didn't matter. But the look on my husband's face of disappointment, because he holds them in such high esteem, that they said was the worst. To disappoint Tati, that's the worst thing to them. To disappoint our Tati and Shemayim, our Abba and Shemayim, that's the worst thing. And that's what we don't want to do. So Hashem doesn't want that either. He sees what our potential is here. And he shakes us and shakes us. An earthquake that happens in Turkey, that's a shake too. The tragedies in Eretz Yisrael, it's a shake for all of us. Nothing like what's for the parents, but it's a shake. We get our shakes and we have to listen. So how do we deal with our challenges? You know, when I first moved to Philly, I'm from Borough Park. I may have said that earlier, like really Borough Park. You know, went to school there, Hasidic family. My husband's from Philadelphia. He's also from a Rebbeisha family, and he was doing outreach here. And that's how I ended up here. We first lived in Israel for 3 years and then came to Philly. And it was difficult for me. It was a big change. The community was not what I was used to. Everything. I mean, we lived in a community. Our community at the time had my in-laws, a sister-in-law, and like maybe 2 or 3 from families. It was, you know, really a big change for me and an adjustment. And it I wasn't in the best place, put it that way. I was young, I had little kids, I was, you know, trying to make it work. And I have to give credit to Michelle, she's on the call. Michelle had just moved to Philly. We were not living in the same neighborhood, but a few minutes away, and we had become friendly. And her husband had decided to bring in, like maybe once a month, I don't remember what it was, to bring in like a good speaker to come and speak and inspire the community. And she brought in a variety of speakers, and Yasher Koach to her and her husband, but one speaker came and we went, my husband and I don't remember anything that he said. It was Rabbi Israel Tauber. And I don't remember his whole speech, but one thing that he said changed how I lived here in Philadelphia. And he said, if Hashem puts you in a place, there's a reason he's putting you in that place. And I know it sounds very simple and very basic, but to me at that time, it just went straight to my heart. And I said, I'm here for a reason. I've got to make this work and find out why I'm here. And sure enough, I mean, look, Hashem took me from Borough Park to Philadelphia. I knew growing up in Borough Park that we had a Sunday program for kids. I knew growing up in Borough Park that we had school lunch. There was none of that here. We had summer camp for girls, for boys, and all these things. And I started to bring all of that to Philadelphia. And we opened a girls' camp, and we opened a boys' camp, and we opened a daycare center. 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we built a beautiful community center. And I just got involved and said, there's so much that we can do here. And we brought school lunch programs to the schools. And in that, it kind of led us into a food business. And that's how we ended up at the kosher supermarket. That's a whole nother story. But Baruch Hashem, I've seen why Hashem put us here. We just opened a supermarket 5 years ago. Just in the supermarket, I say it's the ultimate outreach center. It's literally, we have Jews of every walk of life. We have Gentiles as well, Jews of every walk of life that we're able to, not just when they walk in, you know, they know that they can, if everybody has that one child that became religious, that one sibling that's religious, and they're coming for dinner and, oh my goodness, what are we doing? And they know they can come in and we help them out. But besides for that, we had a woman who came in literally a few months after we opened. She brought a picture of my husband's grandfather who had married her years ago in South Philly. We have so many stories, people coming in and just being able to share a lot of the history that they had with my husband's family here in Philadelphia. We see chesed, to be able to witness chesed going on, people paying each other's grocery bills. We're able to help people. They can't pay their bill this week, no problem, when you can. To be able to be a part of that, to witness a Holocaust survivor coming in and sing Cholent for the first time since he was in Europe, because unfortunately he's not religious anymore. But he was able to remember his mother's Cholent, and he hasn't had it since then, since before the war, since his family was killed out. And we were able to give him a bowl of steaming hot Cholent, and of course, we asked him for a bracha. But the most recent story that happened that I still can't get over, and I have to share it. I'm not going to use his real name. I'm going to say his name is Jonathan. We do a lot of catering, and Baruch Hashem, a lot of the not like the conservative and the reform, the synagogues all use us. When there's like a shiva, they like to send the shiva to the person's house. And now at least Baruch Hashem, we know that it's fully kosher. And they call us a lot. And they called us, they said, this man just lost his wife. He doesn't have any children and he's devastated. We'd like you to send a shiva, a shiva order to their house. We said, no problem, sure. We deliver the order and then we get a frantic call from this man. And he's like, I don't know what, I just got a delivery. I don't know who it's from, what it's from. I made an order online, like we do groceries online. And I said I was coming to pick it up. I don't know what's being delivered here. And he was like very ice mint. She was very disoriented. And we're like trying to figure out what's going on. Then we realized, we said, no, you did make a grocery order. We do see it. It does say that you're picking it up, but this is an order from your synagogue that they sent you, for mail. He was like, oh, okay, fine. Well, I'm still going to come in and pick up my groceries. We said, okay, sure, no problem. My husband's in the store and he comes in, I believe it's a Sunday morning, and he sees this man coming in. He had never met him, but he sees a guy walking very, very flustered, very disoriented, very, very sad. And he's like, I'm here to pick him up. And he goes, oh yeah, you're the one. I'm so sorry for the loss of your wife. And he starts crying. And my husband's just sitting with him. And he's like, and my husband says, oh, is the funeral today or tomorrow? He's like, well, we're actually cremating her. That's what we wanted. We're going to cremate her. He goes, I know, Rabbi, I know you're Orthodox. I know you don't, whatever. Don't even bring it up to me. Don't talk about it. It's done. It's sealed. Don't talk. Okay. My husband goes, okay, no problem. He goes, let me help you with the boxes to the car. My husband puts the boxes in the car and the guy, let's call him Jonathan, is sitting, it's like a Jeep. It's like an SUV and he's sitting in the back, like with his feet hanging out, and my husband helping him with the boxes. And he's like, actually, Rabbi, let me hear what you do think about cremation. And I said, look, he says his thoughts according to what the Torah says and this and that. And he's quiet and he says, Rabbi, I will do a kosher burial if you're the rabbi that does the funeral. Tuesday morning. And my husband agreed. And ended up being that Tuesday morning, my sister-in-law was making a bris or something for her grandchild. I said, you're going to have to excuse Shlomi on this one. He's not going to make it to the bris, but we have a big mitzvah to do on Tuesday. And he did the funeral, and this woman had a kosher burial. And since then, this man comes to shul every Friday night, every Shabbos day. He comes every day to say Kaddish. He's been to our house Friday night. He's learning to read again Hebrew. He's reconnecting. He looks alive, although sad. He loves to talk about his wife, and we love to listen. But here he is, turned around just from a supermarket encounter, but also for my husband noticing that somebody walked in and looked sad. It could have been any customer. Here you go. Here's your order. Out you go. To notice when someone needs something. We say in Shemona Esrei, Atachonein, Hashem, give us the das to be able to see what other people need. And that's another part of, realizing what we have. So why do I bring this in? Gratitude for the fact that if you were born into a frum family and lead a Torah life and you have a guide for every second minute of your life, thank you, Hashem, for that. If you chose to make the changes in your life and you were able to do it and you had the support and you're here living a Torah life, thank you, Hashem. I have a lot of friends who chose Judaism, who weren't born Jewish, many friends in our community. And they thank Hashem every day for being able to come back and find their roots in Judaism. So if you can live a Torah life and you have that guide, you already lead a much happier life. And I know that I lead momentum trips to Israel. And you've heard Lori speak, you've heard Rivky speak. So you see what we have on the lineup over there, okay? And when we bring women to Israel, I just interviewed women now. I'm going to be going in November, Metz Hashem. I had a woman literally crying as she explained to me, she's filling out the application for momentum. And it asks you like different things about your level of Judaism. They're trying to gauge how connected you are. And honestly, the less connected you are, the more chance you're going to be able to get on this trip. But this woman was crying because I'm filling it out. And no, I haven't had a Pesach Seder. And no, I don't do Shabbat. And no, I don't like candles. And she's crying. And she goes, no, I'm not connected. And it's hitting me. It's hitting me that I'm not. I said, you're a perfect candidate for this trip. Can't wait to take you. But you see the pain. I had two women who said they decided they were friends. They said, okay, we're going to do a Seder and we're going to invite people. And they invited people and the people were asking questions. And they said, we couldn't answer. And we're on site, even teach Hebrew school to preschool kids. I had no answers. We're quickly looking in the book. We can't find anything. We want to be able to know. And that's a gift. If you are able to learn and you're able to be part of a Nishmat group and you have a chabura of friends that are doing this together with you, thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, that I have this and it's keeping me strong. And then when that sorrow hits and that pain hits, we can handle it. When someone does something to you or you think they do, it's not them doing it to you. Hashem is sending people in your life to move you, shake you, make you better. You know, that I always say my mother-in-law and I were total opposites. My mother passed away a couple of years ago, very young. And I said, Hashem gave me this mother-in-law because I came in as a very straight arrow, type A, thinking I control everything. Everything has to be just so. Gave me a mother-in-law who was like literally the funniest person ever, a ball of fun, laughing, chilled, and she chilled me out, I would say, you know, and we would have the best time. And she would look to me for advice. It was kind of a reverse a little bit in that sense, but that's what I needed. I needed someone like that in my life. Hashem puts the people in your life, that challenging trial that you think is challenging is just there to work you. You know, and the harder it gets, that's where you get to your goals. I just ran the High Lifeline Marathon in Florida and I'm not doing that again. It was a once off the bucket list, done at 49 years old. But as I had to keep practicing, you know, you get to that, okay, the 3 mile, 5 miles. And when I'm pushing myself at that 11 mile and it's really, really hurting, but it's to get to my goal. I know that I can only get there if I feel this pain a little bit, if I push through. And Baruch Hashem, I did. Now I'm feeling the pain again after, so we'll see what that's about. But at least it was for a very good cause. But that's what it is. You know, Hashem really, really, He wants us to get to where we have to be, and there's a joy in that as well. We know that what we consider a tzara is not really what we consider. You know, something's good may not always be. You know, when things don't work out, we're like, Hashem, thank you. This shidduch didn't go through. Thank you. I know that this is for the best. This deal didn't go through. Thank you so much. So I just want to also say that when something great happens to you, I always say thank you to the person, and then I say thank you to Hashem. Recently, this just happened the other day, and I just have to share it. I have an amazing neighbor who surprises me every single day with her unbelievable kindness. I had posted on our community chat, I had just switched insurances, and I was trying to find a good PT that would take my insurance. So I posted, anyone can recommend a good, physical therapy place that would take this specific insurance. And I get a, message here, this one, that one. And then I get a call from my neighbor and she's like, Rivky, this PT place is amazing. I actually called them up to see if they take your insurance, and they do. You're going to have to do this and this and this and this. But this is what I was like, you called them up for me to ask if they take my insurance and then to be able to give me that information. She's like, yeah. I was, the extra step. I said, thank you. And then I said, thank you, Hashem, for such good neighbors. And I thank Hashem every day for my communities. I say, why did Hashem put me here? I see it every day why Hashem put me here. And every community is great. And you find that beauty and you understand I'm here for a reason. So when things happen to you, you become such a grateful person when you not only thank the person, but when you also thank Hashem for everything, for putting these special people in your life. And it goes even more when it comes to our husbands. How many times do we say thank you? They're working so hard. Jewish life is not cheap and it's stressful. And now comes Purim. I said the greatest joy I have on Purim is just watching my husband finally relax and get a little drunk. Okay, we do a beautiful men's party. Everyone comes and gives brachas, and you just want to see them relaxed and to be happy. And it's hard on us women sometimes, Purim, but you think of Esther. No one had it harder than her. She saved us, and she did not have that happily ever after ending that we all have going, having our husbands that we choose. After the Purim miracle, remember, Esther went back to Achashverosh. It wasn't a happily ever after. It was the ultimate sacrifice. And so if she can do that, I think that we can make our Purim beautiful, work hard, yes, set up the parties, make our gorgeous shalach manas and let our husbands enjoy. And we enjoy through it as well. And then, of course, Pesach coming, so we can start getting stressed. Don't get stressed. Say thank you. Thank you that I get to clean up after my children. Thank you that I have a home to clean. Thank you that I have a car to clean. Thank you, that I have a mess to clean up, because those are brachas in our lives. And when we look at it that way, comes a whole new holiday. So I wish you that we keep this feeling with us through the next Yom Tovim always. And we're taught that gratitude to Hashem is powerful enough to eradicate all the suffering of the world. So when we hear the suffering, let's just work on our gratitude. I know it's difficult when we hear bad things, but This is how we can attain our personal redemption. And when we do that, we can each accomplish this. All the Jewish women of the world working on our own redemption, that's how we can bring Mashiach all together. So I thank Hashem for granting me this opportunity. And I thank you for allowing me to join you today.
Thank you very much. It's beautiful. Well, good thoughts to think